Just learning now that the case against Alec Baldwin in the Rust shooting trial has been dismissed. We bring in our NBC Dana Griffin reporter and legal analyst Kristen Gibbons-Fedden is also with us. Dana, what a shocker, right? Give us the highs and lows. What just happened?
My goodness. I mean, I've never witnessed something like this happen, but essentially the judge agreed with Baldwin's defense that the evidence that could have helped their case was held against them, essentially prosecutorial misconduct. They said that evidence was withheld, these rounds that were brought into the sheriff's office back during Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's trial, but was never disclosed to the defense. So they brought this up during their arguments because they had a motions hearing. Carrie Morrissey, the prosecutor in this case, took the stand in her own defense, so to speak, and that's when we learned her co-counsel, Erlinda Johnson, resigned today. And the lead detective on the case is the one who said that it was her sheriff supervisor, and prosecutor Carrie Morrissey that decided to put this evidence under a different case number, which ultimately let it sort of disappear. And so just in the courtroom, we saw the judge read out that this conduct was highly prejudiced to the defense, and you saw actor Alec Baldwin break down into tears as the judge granted their motion to dismiss. His family emotional. He stood up, left the courtroom. We are working to get more details about what's happening now outside of that courtroom, but obviously a major shocker in this case. And also, it's important to remember, what is the family of Helena Hutchins thinking at this moment? They were looking for justice in this case, and they said that they were, hoping that anyone held accountable would be brought, would be judged by their peers and a jury. So it's a tough day for the family who's looking for answers.
Don't go anywhere, Kristen. Dana, we've got video just into us right now of Baldwin's reaction in court as he broke down crying when the judge dismissed the case. And so Alec Baldwin will leave New Mexico a free man, not facing any more charges related to the death of the director of the movie that he was producing. And I'm just wondering, as you look at those are pretty authentic emotions coming from him. This has been an extraordinarily stressful time for him.
Welcome everybody to the Wake Up Call channel. Alec Baldwin, dismissed, of course, on manslaughter charges. If you haven't heard the story, Alec Baldwin supposedly shot somebody on a movie set and was taken to court where many believed he would be guilty of manslaughter. Most people assume that because when you shoot somebody, well, there has to be some consequences to your actions. But what most people don't know is that what took place in this courtroom was exactly what's in the books and the teachings of a certain group of people that Alec's a part of, well, where they're above the law. You see, these secret societies and people like Alec Baldwin who are a part of it, they're above the law. In fact, they're not just above the law, they go out of their way to show us that they're above the law, which is exactly what occurred in this charade of a trial for Alec Baldwin. If you didn't notice, Alec Baldwin showed up in court, and take a look what he's wearing right on his wrist right there. You see that string, that red string right on Alec's wrist? Well, that sums up the entire case in a nutshell. Alec wore that bracelet, or that string, I should say, to court to show his allegiance to a certain group of people. A certain group of people who openly let you know that that is not a celebrity fashion statement. What that bracelet represents is a certain group of people who are not subjected to the law. In fact, the books that they follow and they teach talk about how the law is not in place for them. The law is in place for us. They're above it, and they always will be above it. So Alec showed his allegiance right there in court. And when this occurred a few days ago, when the trial actually started, I noticed the bracelet on Alec's wrist, and I was tempted to do a video then, saying that I guaranteed that he would just get a slap on the wrist, but I didn't do so because I don't know what's really happening behind closed doors. Sometimes they will convict one of their own if one of their own doesn't pay the price, right? We talk about that with sacrifice. If one of these guys isn't doing what they're asked to do, if they're asked to bring a blood sacrifice, whether it's a child or a spouse or a cousin forward for them, for the cabal, well, then they do that. But if they don't, then they're subjected to be off themselves, which is what happens to a lot of these celebrities who off themselves. We hear about these celebrities that, oh my goodness, they were depressed. They just off themselves. Robin Williams, Chester Bennington, all these guys that just wake up one day and decide that all the money and all the family they have aren't worth it anymore, and they just mysteriously vanish off the face of the earth. And that's because they haven't paid their dues. Look at it that way. As a due, as a fee that you're supposed to pay, right? Even these Masons have yearly annual fees that they have to pay to be a part of these secret societies, and these people at these levels are usually asked to do something, and sometimes they don't want to do it. But it looks like in this case, as it should look like in most cases with these people, they're above the law. So Alec went, he wore his red string. He didn't just get a slap on the wrist, he literally got his case dismissed so he can't be tried again. And this isn't a first for Alec. Everybody knows that you're only famous if you're in these secret societies. Everyone should know, I meant to say. Alec, of course, showing us the 666 hand sign over the years, as he's prominently, like everybody else, right? The collages I've shown you over and over and over, they're all just holding up this, what is perceived and told to us means the AOK sign, which now apparently means MAGA, which again has led to more people dismissing the signal and the symbol, because most people out there think that they're quote unquote red-pilled, who are MAGA and vote conservative and don't realize they're a part of the game by participating in voting, and they're a part of the game by thinking that Trump is not one of them. So they could flaunt the 666 right in front of you, and most people dismiss it because they have to automatically dismiss Trump for flaunting it right in front of you. But here's Alec. I mean, Alec Baldwin is like the epitome of anti-Trump, isn't he? He's the one who always portrays Trump on shows like Saturday Night Live, right? He's Mr. Lib in today's world. And of course, he's holding up the MAGA sign. I mean, the 666 sign. I mean, what? He was just saying A-OK on a magazine cover. Here's Alec doing the all-seeing eye symbolism over and over and over again, right? What are we supposed to think that this is? Is this what you guys are doing on your Instagram or Facebook accounts? And again, I hope nobody who listens to my channel has a Facebook or Instagram account. But if you do, and you see other people, are they doing it? Your next door neighbors? Is this what they're doing? Now, I know that they're doing manufactured behavior and they're posting things that they shouldn't be posting, like pictures of their food or letting you know what's on their mind every 5 seconds, which is embarrassing enough. But nobody's doing this, of course, other than celebrities, but they don't expect you to notice it. That's why when you show it to people in collages and they see the repetition in the pattern, they start to say, oh yeah, there is something to this one-eye symbolism. Then they connect it to the dollar bill and how it's on the back of the dollar and how it's in every Freemason lodge. Oh, okay. There's an obsession with the eye. And then it goes back to, oh, the eye of providence. And you realize, wow, these people really believe in Babylonian teachings. Then when you connect the dots with the Babylonian teachings, you can go right back with the all-seeing eye to that red string that Alec was wearing on his wrist, because the God that they believe in is Lucifer. That's right, Lucifer. So as we continue and we talk about Alec, which, I should point out, magazine covers where Alec has a finger being held up over his mouth. Again, what's the big secret here? Is it the secret that Alec's not a man? I mean, what's the secret? Well, the secret is that they're a part of these secret societies. Alec Baldwin, a Freemason. The finger over the mouth is shh. It's a vow of silence and secrecy. That's why you see all these celebrities always doing this. That's why you see celebrities like Rihanna having it tattooed on their index finger. Nobody thinks anything about it. Why does Lindsay Lohan, why do they all have this tattoo on their finger of shh? Because it's what? Nobody can answer. They think it's just some cutesy thing that the celebrities do because they don't want to believe that these people are only famous because they're in parts of secret societies, or members, I should say, of secret society. So we've even seen Alex do the X over his chest, which represents the Antichrist, the X. Twitter is called X. Madonna wears the X on her eye patch, her one eye patch. All these celebrities like Stephen King always holding their hands over their chest, making an X. This represents the Antichrist, okay? So he's doing that on a magazine cover. And of course, Alec Baldwin's most famous role possibly might be his role in Beetlejuice. And do you think it was a coincidence that Alec Baldwin's character in the entire film is wearing a black and white Masonic checkerboard shirt? Okay? Do you think that's a coincidence? Of course it's not. And I've covered this before with Beetlejuice. I have a video up on Beetlejuice, even the latest Beetlejuice, and the connection to CERN and the portal. But I also talk about Tim Burton's connection to Freemasonry and his obsession with Freemasonry and how he uses Freemasonry in all of his films. So this is deliberately there and placed on Alec Baldwin, who is strategically chosen to be in this film. Alec Baldwin is another one of these celebrities who, again, not only are they above the law, they flaunt this in front of you. This trial was a charade. The second I saw him wearing the red bracelet, I knew that he was getting dismissed, that this was not ever going to go further than this charade of a trial. And they love to rub this stuff in our faces, because if that was you who did this to somebody, well, of course, you would be put in jail immediately, probably charged with more than just manslaughter. And what's the other thing that's going to come of this? Well, of course, probably more gun laws, right? Couldn't you see now that there's more gun laws put in place? No real guns allowed anywhere within a movie set, within 200 yards. People will say, well, that's fine. That's good. That's what we should have, right? Right. Something always comes of it. And the one thing we can always guarantee is that when these people are connected to secret societies like Freemasonry, and they're connected to cabals that you cannot speak of, remember to always question the people that you can't question. If there's anybody out there that you're not allowed to talk about, that they tell you you can't say anything about them, that they're protected from all forms of speech, including questioning what their beliefs really are, then you should be suspicious. And there's only one group of people who happen to wear that bracelet that Alec Baldwin wore in court deliberately and displayed it deliberately. There's only one group of people that you can't question. Alec Baldwin is one of them. So his sham of a trial, of course, comes to an end. And I'm sure now he'll be rolled back out in more movies, doing his best, because he's one of these actors that causes a lot of contention among Democrats and Republicans. He's one of those guys that conservatives hate. He came forward with all the stuff about that guy's flight log. He was supposedly on the flight log and he's pretending he's not. And he's the guy who always betrays Trump. So he's one of those figures that they can move around and they could really play, gaslight people using him, right? Especially with the stuff going on with Trump and how Trump is, possibly going to jail for what he did, and Alec Baldwin won't be going to jail for killing someone. They're also playing into that, what's fair and what's not, who's above the law and who isn't. So that ties into the narrative of what this whole charade was about as well. So Alec Baldwin, folks, above the law, just like the rest of them. Unbelievable. I had to do a video on it. I was laughing the second I saw him wearing the bracelet. I think we all knew the writing was on the wall. Most of these people will never get actually put in jail. If they do get convicted, it's for a specific reason. And a lot of the times they get sent off to a different country. They get a little plastic surgery and you never see from them again. And then we're told that they're in prison serving a sentence, and they're not. Usually the sentence that we're told they're serving is to change laws or to set a precedent for something else. In this case, they're just telling you, hey, wear the bracelet, show who you're affiliated with, you're above the law. And Alec is. And so are all of these secret society members, unfortunately. But God's watching everything. God sees everything, and they will be held accountable by his judgment. I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you and your families as always.